Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're all having a great day, and I hope you fared incredibly well yesterday because, my goodness, it was wild, it was nasty, and Wall Street was out to steal all of our money, weren't they? Oh, yes, they were. They pushed that market down. Let's just think about this for a second. Let me just get the old scalerometer out. 3.43% down the Nasdaq. Ooh, whew, my goodness. It's like people say the market can never correct, and then it does. And then everyone gets scared and says, oh, it's the crash. It's going to be the end of the world. Are we at the end of the world? I don't believe so. Will we get an answer about this whole Chinese situation? Probably. When will it happen? Who knows? I mean, we'll see, guys. We'll see. We can only follow the TA, and we are at the critical resistance ahead of the open. You guys can see it here. This is the key level. Do we expect to be here? Yeah, frankly, absolutely, we do. Let's have a quick chat to everyone in the community. What are you guys saying? Heath Tyler says Uber. Is that a company? Do we care about Uber? I thought Uber was like 2014. Isn't Uber like kind of 2014? Is it back or something? Let me have a look. It must be pre-market because you guys are going crazy about it. 6.28%. Still looks 2014 to me. But yes, it is up 6.28% here in the morning. We'll check that chart out maybe a little bit later for you guys. Seeing as you're so excited about it, we'll check it out. Uber doing well. Is this the chart that does that look good? Does that look good? I don't know. Am I mistaken by thinking this looks good? No. That is a company that is becoming irrelevant over time. However, there may be trades there, so we'll check it out. Let's continue doing. Nick Keller likes it. Uber doing well. I think I'm probably going to get a few people saying, give me the downvotes on the Uber stuff, but yes. C-Max says, yes, it's a great time to trade. Yes, but what have we said? What is the number one learning for the community throughout the session? By the way, welcome to the 500 viewers already coming in. Thank you very much for smashing that like button, guys. If you want free TA cheat sheets, click the link. And remember, subscribe. If you do enjoy the content, it does help us out. What do we want to be doing right now, guys? Other than drinking San Pellegrino water, because it's pretty damn good. What else do we want to be doing? Let's see if the chat's got big brain. I know you guys know what's up. Uber has drone tech. That's right. Savage Joe's got it. Nimble. Jay, that's funny. Jay Nibble, says, always YOLO. Number one learning, YOLO bets only. My goodness, that's not really that great. All right, let's talk about these key levels here for the resistance and support of the major indices. As we always do in the show, we begin by that. Then we'll talk about this nasty crypto market. Then we'll get into some commodities. And of course, we'll finish up coming into the opening of the session with super chats, whatever else you guys give me, and also some of the key technical analysis levels that we're looking at on some of the big stocks. So firstly, we expect to be here. We always expect to be at critical levels of support or resistance coming into a market open or at a market close. These are the kind of common things. We saw Wall Street buying at the close. It's very clear it was Wall Street. They love to do it. It's sneaky. Take a look at all these indices. It's very, very clear. Buying into the close. Now, what were they specifically buying, and what do we want to be looking at today? It's probably going to be FANG stocks. We will need to watch them quite closely, I believe, in this potential pullback scenario. We need to watch the FANG technicals. So we're at the resistance. Figuratively, if we sell off this zone, where do we end up? Well, you would think testing the lows of the previous session. That's a very common kind of way of thinking, and we are at that key resistance. Now, if we go down a little bit in the morning and then we end up blowing through this 15,000, let's call it 180 kind of level, then if we get through that, where's the next logical zone? I've highlighted it here for you guys right now, 15,360. Why is that going to be the key zone? Because that was the previous support of course, all the previous sessions. It's also all going to line up together with the SPY. And as I said in today's video, there's a lot of reasons why the SPY wants to stay in certain zones. So I like the Nasdaq at this current resistance. If you're thinking about going short, This is one of those zones that you'll be wanting to watch, go into the smaller time frames, analyze, and then, of course, make your decisions either way. If you're looking for the longs, well, you could have bought the low down here near the close. I think that would have been valid. And if we actually go into something like the 1 hour chart and even smaller charts, what you'll actually start to notice is that when you look at the smaller charts, there was some reversal, but it was very, very quick. It was really only if you could think about an investment perspective. I want to just give everyone a bit of an idea as well what we expect from a standard pullback in the markets. So let's take a standard pullback. We always talk about around that 8 to 10%. We're at a 6 almost on the Nasdaq. Is that a standard pullback? Well, it's been a little bit deeper before. I mean, if we're over here, we had a pullback that was around 12%. That's a very good zone. And in fact, if I was here and I remember it, that was an area that I was focusing heavily on. Previous resistance becoming support. Again, this time round, we've got some key little levels after, if it does break this 50, not this 50, I mean, if it does break this zone here, this is the ultimate zone. Around that 14,000 would be pretty damn ultimate if it is to occur. This could be all we get. I'm not even kidding you. It could be all we get. We'll probably find out over the next 48 hours. Let's now take a look at Apple before we go to the SPY, because Apple may hold some of the keys as well to what's going to happen in this market. We're opening at 144.13. Where do we have previous resistances? Around that 145. 145, 145 support, 145 resistance. So we're going to open right around that level. We don't really want it going too much above that, because if it does that, guys, what happens? It moves further up, and then all of a sudden, all this good work the bears have been doing is nullified by the dip. We close that gap, and then we start to move higher, and then in a flash, we're back at the peaks. You know what I mean? So it really is that kind of area that we're opening at this morning that's very important, that it kind of reverses relatively quickly. Trishan says we want more blood. Fair enough, Trishan. Yes. Yes. And Glenn Bear says the market, she never goes down enough. It never goes down the way that you want it to. It always goes down into one of those kind of, ways where it's like 2 steps down, 1 step back, ladder, traps you, makes you think that everything's all good. It'll do whatever really hurts the most amount of people. That's the way it kind of works. Apple, of course, hitting our support and bouncing off that. I don't mind this 145 as a key zone that people look to the short. So I think we should find out relatively early in the session if the market is going to start going back down. Does it make sense to everybody why that would be the way? I mean, you look at the SPY, very similar, 437 currently. So let's have a look at 437. 437 slightly above where I would expect it to be. So see this 437.23. If we put a line through that, let me just do that right now, 437.23, I would actually expect it to be slightly lower than this into the open. Some little bit of resistance, but I like this support. We opened underneath it. This zone here made sense for me to be seeing those bears come back in. So if the bears are going to come back in, they've got to come in early, and they've got to come in and around this range. It just makes technical sense to be around this area. So SPY, very, very similar. I want to quickly talk about some options. I want to talk about options interest coming into the end of this week. Here are the options interests. Stuck between that 450 level, 440, obviously some calls going in on that zone, and then 430 as the potential put wall. So no matter what we're looking at here, it would not really be in Wall Street's best interest to close the market underneath 430 in this week. Now, if we go out to something like October and we take a look at that, then all of a sudden we're looking more at a 450 strike. So 450, we're looking at doesn't go above. 1 second. And then underneath that, we're talking potential weakness could be ensued. There's not really any strong put walls, I think, for up to the 15th. So if we're thinking about logically, let's say the market wanted to go down, up, down a little bit. Let's just say the scenario was the market goes down for a while. Then around the 15th of October, maybe middle of October, later next month, it really starts to rally. It's allowed to get through the 450 call. And we know that's consistent with also our stats. I'll bring up the stats. That's not the stat I want. That was just me talking about the weakness. but you will see October, specifically look at this November. Fantastic results month, November. Never forget, November is pretty damn good. But here are the stats for 1 month after. So August, month 7. In the books, 1. Month 8, September, currently looks like it's going to be red. The next month after that, questionable, slightly positive. The next months after that, very good. And then, of course, the 6 months after that, fantastic. So unless this Evergrande, whatever situation is really, really, really dire, again, I don't believe it is, but that is my opinion, and my opinion doesn't mean much. I don't see it as a long-term threat to the US markets here. Maybe it's a long-term threat, but it's not this. It's not the threat that everybody believes it will be. Even if they start selling it off, we'd have to see some really bad mismanagement from China on it. I'm not sure if we will actually have that. PK Subban says, I want a 15% correction. I'm not sure if you'll get it. Stats will say you won't get it. In fact, in most times when you come into a market this aggressive, and even when you've had that 6-7 months in a row, did you know that the average pullback, or the best pullback you usually can expect, is about 4 to 5%? So if you go back through the 60s, the 90s, the 80s runs, all those times where you've also had those huge stats, this is all you got out of the S&P 500. And I'm sorry to tell you, if you actually take the top from the bottom, you just saw one of the better results. I would like to have an 8 to 10% pullback, but I wouldn't blame people for thinking about positioning in partially on the lows of yesterday, because there is merit in it, even though it's an investment standpoint versus, of course, a trading standpoint. From a trader's perspective, we're looking for these key zones to be retested, just like we're going to open around this area here, right around this previous resistance becomes support, becomes resistance again. We're still looking for the market basically to find weakness here. And then if it gets through weakness at the 50 exponential, obviously a key point, this will certainly be where the bears mount their final stand. And if you get above that, well, you've got to go bullish. You've got to go bullish once you get past here. And if you keep waiting, then obviously you're looking for it above that zone. You've got to look for it above that zone. A retest and rip, William Wilson says. Retest would not be impossible, William. That's a good zone. It is a good area. There are better, but it was particularly good on the Nasdaq. I was quite happy with that low. I couldn't even believe it actually got that low yesterday. I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying. AMC still has apes holding it up. Some will hold forever. I'm sure people will hold forever, especially the smaller holders. A lot of people probably even forgotten they have AMC shares. I wouldn't be surprised if there's people that put in 10, 20 shares, walk off, and there'd be probably thousands of them. And if there's thousands of people like that, then that's going to be pretty strong. Welcome to the 1,000+ people as well in the stream. We're only 13 minutes in, but yes, we're at a very important zone. Conscious Investing says, I think we may price in the taper and rate hike, maybe even tax hike and such. Tax hike is always one of those scenarios that markets don't like. Yes, that is a key point to be looking at. So again, for anyone that's just joining us, markets are currently at resistance ahead of the open. We have Nasdaq right at resistance. Daily, of course, 50 exponential, which it was broken underneath. It's retesting from the top up. We've got the SPY at a key resistance. And these are the two markets that you'll want to be looking at. You'll then want to go and break down things like your key FANG stocks. Apple, where's it at? It's at roll reversal as well. Perfect. That's exactly where you want it to be if you're a bear. If you're looking at Amazon, is Amazon kind of at a resistance or a support line? Basically, that 3,400 previous resistance, little bit of support, could be a resistance again, a key zone for it to be at. Google, let's take a look at where that's at. That's at 29.70, 27.97. So in the middle of nowhere land. 28, the resistance, but I think that's the middle of nowhere land. Microsoft, I don't really care about this one so much because they got a buyback on it. So there's going to be a lot of manipulation. So I'd probably say like Apple is probably one of the best stocks for you to be checking sentiment against. If Apple is falling, we know it's a big kingpin of the S&P 500, of the Nasdaq. If you see weak technicals here, then you better be paying attention. But I also would never disregard this trend line here on Apple. Remember, the glory trend line that's been going on for so long now is still a very key point. If you're thinking about, well, where do I think the market's bottoming? There's a good case to be made that when Apple reaches this, if it does, either this level or this level here, this is a very, very, very key zone for us to be watching. Do you guys agree? What do you think? With VIX, isn't market likely to be consolidating further during this week and then tank again Friday and Monday? Market expiry will be fairly important in terms of the options, but VIX is doing really what we expected it to do. Broke out after the point. I told you guys yesterday, as soon as, even if this hadn't rallied, once it stabilizes, the volatility index tends to actually drop off those extreme peaks. So well done for anyone that had the VIX, but would I buy more VIX? I don't like trading. I'd rather trade the indices. I would rather trade the indices. We've got Cody coming in with Singapore, $6.98. Thank you very much, Cody. Thanks for helping me out with my trading journey, Tom. Just started this year. BTC to 60K or 20K first, you think? As long as the market holds up, BTC 60K first, so 60K first. Reason why is if the stock market holds, let's say the stock market drops 8 to 10% quickly, maybe that'll dive Bitcoin a little bit. But I feel like if all those stats that we see in the stock market continue through, there'll be money made in the stocks. That money will then go into Bitcoin. There'll be rich people like, oh, I made some money in stocks again. I'm going to go and invest some money in Bitcoin alternatives. Obviously, collectors markets are driving coins. And we've got that uptick of just people really believing in it, plus a whole bunch of new projects. I'm not bearish on Bitcoin till the end of the year. In fact, I'm quite bullish on it into November. I know it's been having a tough time. If I ignored everything about everything else, I actually feel like it's got the potential. Now, am I going to go call 500,000 Bitcoin? No. I think that's kind of unrealistic. Do I think it could go 100K or close to? I think it's possible, and that might sound ridiculous, but I think it's possible, very possible. When? I don't know. This cycle even, it's possible. November will be the key linchpin. October, November, back end of October, November. I want to see Thanksgiving into Thanksgiving. I want to see rallies across all crypto. That's where we want to be having the action. So, thoughts on the markets? All at resistance again, all at the key levels. US 100, you can see it incredibly clearly here by just looking at the futures. Resistance, 50 exponential moving average. Bang, straight back into that, right on the market open. Exactly where we want it to be. We should get direction within the first hour to hour and a half of the market's open, maybe even faster. And I guess if I was going with it, I would think this is a dead cat bounce rally. That is the normal thing that markets do. Kind of like this one here. You get that initial sell-off, you get that rally, you get the sell-off again. I mean, look at this. This is pretty much a classic case. Here's another classic case. So look at this. It's not unusual for markets to get smashed, and then they get smashed heavily, followed by a monster reversal. Then they get smashed down again, trap more retail traders, smash down again. That's the type of thing they want to do. Or if Wall Street want to add more value, this is the perfect. I mean, this is a very easy buy, isn't it? So we get a smash down, a nice rally, rallies up, goes back down. And even if you miss that low, when you get that daily closure, bull hammer off the bottom, holy moly, you better be scaling in. And then you go psycho here. You get the froth. You're like frothing at the mouth because that's a double bottom and that bullish pin. Oh, man, that's a classic. I love that. That's El Clasico, guys, if that happened. But still incredibly common that we get these dead cat bounce rallies. These are designed, generally speaking, to trap people into buying positions on leverage, slamming that leverage out of them, maximum pain, maximum extraction, and then they'll do the real dazzle. The real dazzle. That's what actually surprised me about this one. Remember the rally in August? I copped a lot of crap for this because I was like, neutral market, guys, for August, September. That's what I said. I'll hold to it. That's exactly what I said. I said neutral market, be nimble, be fast. And then the market came down like this and it all looked good. Didn't get past the 50, which we know on the daily was important. And then it just went boom, absolute no downturn, and then just woo, right up. Very sneaky. Very sneaky. So let's have the poll of the room here. Let's see what you guys think. Is today a bull trap or is this just the beginning of further rally? I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Conscious Investing says amount of margin taken out in the last 2 years is insane. People need to take profits eventually or they get stuffed. Yes, the margin is quite high in the markets right now. Let's move over to crypto while we take the poll of the people. Let's see what people think. Because, the problem here is if everyone, I know what you guys do. When you've all thought, oh, it's going down, I'm sorry, guys. It seems like when the general collective have been on one side, it's done the opposite thing, yeah? It's, oh, no, you're all thinking bull slap. The bull trap. Oh, no. Chronically Sam says it, wow, everyone thinking bull trap. Oh, no. That's never good. When everyone thinks something, you're always going to be scared. What did Cube say? Someone's sending me something. Let me have a look here. I sold some call spreads on the VIX at the peak yesterday due to this trend line. Pretty cool stuff. Oh man, you got big crazy abilities there in terms of selling against the VIX. Look, selling call spreads, at least you're limiting your risk. He sent me this chart, by the way. But he's going through these highs. Look, I wouldn't necessarily technically trade the VIX. I think that you can get really hurt by that. I know a lot of people in America seem to love trading the VIX because it moves so much. And when it moves, it can be very spiky. It looks like he's sold some maybe verticals up here. But yeah, I would say that there are some risks involved in that and just be a little bit careful. You'd probably be all right. Hopefully you gave it a little bit of time. The more time you give it, the better, more likely you are to be correct on something like that one. Let's move over. Where are we? We're doing crypto. So it looks like overwhelmingly most people think that it's a bull trap. So either you are really big smart. SPDY says this chat is all I needed to see. Time to buy the dip. Oh man. Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's pretty sad. I remember the other day everyone was bearish and the market just ripped off that blow. This time round, though, maybe they've gotten smarter, Maybe they've gotten smarter. Let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, pretty disappointing. Actually, crappy rally too. So it's come down. It's gone underneath this very interesting, like kind of low area, but more important, the body's through here, that 44.2K support got belted and then went straight through it and it's fully reversed. Now, pending it can hold this reversal and it can move up here and stabilize a little bit, it'll be okay. But I do not want to see it back down in these zones. I mean, seriously, you get back under here, oh man, like we're talking like 36K Bitcoin, maybe even 30K Bitcoin again. That would be very sad face. That would be like very, very upset because you don't want to be back down underneath those zones. If you hold here, and even if you just kind of sit around for a little bit and then start slowly moving up, that's a great positive sign. That is strong buying. But yeah, back underneath this zone, it's almost untechnical. I wouldn't, sometimes I say I don't trade. This is more of like if you like investment, then you can look at it. I don't know if I would trust to trade this market right now, the Bitcoin market. The crypto market is tough right now. ADA, do we get a much better chart here? I mean, ADA's chart looks better to me. That's a much better chart. Got the low over here at 2, big psychological zone, comes back down, rallies underneath, closes above. I mean, this is more like it. 20 moving average currently, but you've got clear 230 targets from where it is. And then if it gets through 230, well, then it's really on. but that's a much better base. Don't you guys agree? Oh, that looks so much better. That 4 hour looks great. Let's go to the 2 hour. Yeah, much better once we close. Much better. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum's kind of like a crappy version of that. I'd say ADA looks better. Let's have a look at KSM. KSM mediocrity as well. So the crypto market, it's stabilizing, which is good news, but it is tough to trade. Again, stock market right at that resistance, finding some weakness here early. Well, we went straight into where we expect that weakness to come through. Let's take a look at IWM. That's the Russell 2000. Not much to report here. 218, so around that 219, 220. We expect weakness to come in here. The bears should be at this zone, looking to try to sell this down. Shizzy Wiznut says, I made quite a bit over the past couple of days trading the market. Oh, you certainly can because it's big rallies. What I mean by that is if you're trying to swing trade it. So if you're scalping it on a 15-minute, I can't do analysis on a stream on a 15-minute chart, 1 hour chart, or maybe 1 hour chart, but you can't really, you know what I mean? Like if you're trading a 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, nimble and quick, crypto's okay. If you're trying to swing it, I wouldn't bother. Swinging is very tough. Reza says, I got burned last time. This time, Tom saved me. Well, that's good. ADA always trades super technical for some reason. Big brains in there thinking, but also a lot of volume and a huge, it's kind of like becoming a trading stock because the amount of interest that's been created in Cardano over the last couple of years, especially the last couple of months, I think has brought it in to the illustrious crowd of Bitcoin, Ethereum. Ethereum used to trade incredibly well, technically better than Bitcoin actually, and now ADA has become a great one. It's certainly to be watched when it comes to trading. XRP can be good too. XRB could be good. CMAX says retail is so predictable. You'll notice that everyone does very similar things on similar days. Yes, I swear they could pay for a survey in the morning. Imagine if you were being like really smart, big brain Wall Street, and they get like a survey in the morning and they're like, what do you think's going to happen today with the market? And of course they do have this data and it's like, will it go up or will it go down? And then everyone's like ticking the yes, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And then they're like, okay, cool, let's push it down, guys. We're going to make money. It's that simple, isn't it? They just get everyone's sentiment. And there is actually a lot of sentiment indicators that you can use out there. I'll show you one right now. If you use... All right, so if you use something like a sentiment on futures markets, you can get a little bit of an idea on why markets rally and why markets don't rally. So let's say here, you'll notice 58% of the clients are short on this market right now, 58%. Now, I know for a fact, because I was watching this the other day, guess what was happening up here when it was at its peak? Usually there's always a little bit more shorting because retail likes to short against the trend rather than just go with the trend. You'd be surprised in the futures market, everyone wants to short the market. But up here, it was 80% of people were long. 80% of people were long. So sometimes if you want to look, you can look at these things and you get a bit of an idea of what's going on in the markets. Market's very fearful now. It certainly is getting more fearful from the retail side. And this is actually sneaky by them because they're pushing it early before the market opens. So then what this allows them to do is if they push it down here early, it does a few different things. A lot of people, it's very sneaky. So if you push it down early, then you open, let's say at 15,000. Let's just say that happened. I would have preferred we opened here. This is a bit sad if you aren't trading futures. But 15,000, let's say it opens. This is really one of those conundrums because if you buy the dip and then it comes back up to this zone, well, what do you expect to happen here? Sellers to come back in. Now, if it keeps rallying down, there'll be so many retail people buying this zone because they're saying, oh, it's cheaper than it was before. I've seen that rip. I'm going to buy this area. So that's why I say you're stuck in the middle of nowhere land because in between here, you don't have that strong a direction. When you break above here, well, yes, participation from here to here is very tradable on the bigger time frames. From here down to here is arguably tradable. But in the middle of the zone is much, much harder to make a very clear decision unless you're investing and you're just like, well, I want to buy the company anyway. Much easier when it opens at a resistance or a support. Shizzy Wiznut says always wait for confirmation. Yeah, that is much better to do. Roman Blasian says, Tom, who are they you always talk about? How coordinated could they possibly be? You can look at the balance sheets. It's kind of like when you think about interest rates, and then one bank will be said, oh, you take it this time, guys. And then they'll announce, oh, we've changed the interest rate. And it'll be like we've set it to the lowest rate ever. And then you'll notice the next time it happens, the other bank gets a choice. The other bank gets a choice. When I say they, what I mean is that there is clearly manipulation that goes on in the markets, whether it's algorithms taking advantage of certain indicators and certain psychological factors, or it's just, let's call it Wall Street style trading that takes advantage of the least educated people in the market. And who, frankly, is the least educated? It's us, the retail trader. So when you're thinking about who would you rather fight for the money, it's a war. It's a tug of war between money. Can I steal them retail people's money? Is that easier for me to do than to potentially steal it from, JP Morgan tries to steal it from Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs? Which is easier for me to take the pie from? And when you think about it that way, you'll understand that the part of the reason the market moves the way it does is to manipulate the human psychology, and mostly to really take advantage of that situation. Now, it's not all that, but that is one of the things I look at. Aces or spades, is it me or is the S&P 500 falling? It's falling currently, yes. It's all falling. And they're all falling off the key zones that we discussed. The S&P 500, 436.62. So it's really coming back to the level that I would have preferred. 436.20 was kind of my preferred level to open at. So I'm happy with that. That's not bad. So we're going to have a gap to this level. No matter what, I think the market will try to fill that gap. So 434, that gap is highly likely to fill. This gap is questionable, but this gap is highly likely to fill. Then if we rally off that gap, sure. Get through this zone, we fill the next gap. So we're really just playing a game of gaps. We close above this area, we can fill the next gap. And if we open around here and start selling off, we're looking to fill that gap. And this is where I think buyers may have a crack at the market. Price-wise, that's around 434. We get underneath that gap zone, back down we go to the lows. They're the key zones I'd be looking at. I'd be in a 5-minute chart today, 15-minute chart today, and you'd have to make some pretty rapid decisions. Be nimble, be quick. Be nimble, be quick. Tom, how much RAM do you need for 200 tabs you have open? You need 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's true. 32 gigabytes of RAM is the key. That's the one you want to be looking at. US 10-year, let's have a look at what that's doing. Absolutely nothing. Boring. Set your alerts above 1.38, guys. That's the only important resistance we have. Other than that, who cares? 1.38, 1.38. Let's now go over TLT, 20-year bonds. See how it's held against. We haven't changed any of these lines. That's our downward trend line. So it got just underneath it, quickly held by the end of the day, and it's rallying back up. So movement to bonds does show us some weakness in the markets. Currently 150.64 pre-market here. Nothing much to really report there. But bond movement in, if the bonds strengthen more, the more the bonds strengthen and the market kind of just slowly goes down, the more likely this is real. Remember, bond strengthening is often a precursor of money from Wall Street floating out, going down the river into the crappy asset that is known as the 20-year bond and other bonds, because they are really quite crappy. Do you think there'll be a gap today? I think it's highly likely we have a small gap up on the SPY. The more RAM, the better. Absolutely. And thank you very much, Chronically Sam. Remember to smash the like button. I do appreciate it. 1,275 people coming in. We better give you some good action. So firstly, I'll ask the chat. Guys, I want only incredible setups. I don't want crap. If you give me crap, never listen to you again. Do you have any good TA? Send it to me in Discord if it's good TA, or let me know in the comments in the YouTube right now. Let's see if we can share some good TA with the community on stocks. Give me good TA, guys. Or we'll do a first time send in. Send me the stuff that you're looking at and you've drawn up to my Discord. You can message Tom in the Discord and I will have a look at it now live and we'll find out whether I like it or not. Let's go through a couple of stocks. So Apple, we've done it. We're at resistance. We believe this 145 is key resistance. If it's going to sell off back down to the 141, we've got our great trend line. Let's have a look at Square. Square remains incredibly weird to look at here on the charts. I guess the support's around that 247 if you like it. I'm in two minds about Square at the moment. I think it's convoluted. Amazon went down to 3,300 back to 3.4. A close above 3.4 would be very good for Amazon. And that's when you're starting to talk about that rally section. I still think this is undervalued into the end of the year. It should have a good October, well, good November anyway. Google, tough to buy here. I want cheaper price, but that's just me. It's on the 50. You guys can see it. Enphase down pretty heavy. Not much good technical analysis here, I feel. More short could be in order. It might be up today, but yeah, overall fairly weak after it got through that 160 area. Microsoft, don't care. Let's have a look at ARK K. Don't really care. Let's look at Tesla. The reason I say don't really care on ARK K is you shouldn't do TA on it. Just go do the companies instead that you're looking at inside there. Tesla gives us a long leg doji of indecision. I feel like it's got a 700 put wall on it this week. I detailed that in today's video. So Tesla is relatively secured, I feel, against badness. We've also got a great trend line there in the long term. So hopefully that 726 can hold it up. 734 pre-market, not too bad. Let's keep going through some here and we'll go to the chat in just a second. Beam, 95, great CRISPR stock. Not really anything great technically. CRISPR, the CRISPR stock itself on support, marginal, but it is on support. SPLK, unfortunate that's underneath, but this is still very good buying here. You can see it's actually come back with quite a lot of price elasticity here. There's buyers here for Splunk, 149.80. 149.80. I like the inverse head and shoulders long term on Splunk. Still like it. I like CRM. Look at that. Look at this stock. This stock don't care. It's a beast. Resistance. It's slow as a sloth, but look at yesterday. Rallied. Just did not care. TDOC. Absolute horror show still. No surprise. Baba. Oh, I didn't know it closed underneath. I'm not looking at this stock at the moment. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Could Barber go to 130? Chat, what do you think? Will Barber go to 130? No, don't say it's so. It's underneath a new low. Oh, guys. This stock is a horror. I know it's up at 152, but geez, oh geez. 130, really? It is open now. It's underneath again. Not great. Baidu. Whatevs. JD. It's probably not a bad level if you like JD. 73. That zone is pretty strong. Twilio. Back almost to support. Ooh, nasty candle. Be great to reverse it. All right, let's go. SW says Barber down. Yeah, Barber looks really, really nasty. Darth Diamond Hand says, nah, it's not going nowhere. Tom Bull Flag NVTA Daily. Let's have a look. NVTA. Don't know how much bull flaggy I'd be calling that, but I do like your resistance zone. $32.50. This is a medical nursing service. Not a bad industry to try to get in on now. Interesting. I do like that resistance zone, but I'll be looking for that resistance to break out. And if you want to scale, that's the kind of way I'd do it. What is this? Facebook looks like a good buy. Let's have a look at Facebook. I have always had a good channel on Facebook. It's underneath that zone. It's at the support. This is not bad. Not bad. So that 350 area is okay. Previous support. You notice it's a line I've had there for a while. Yeah, that's okay. Not bad at all. But underneath the trend line makes me upset. My trend line was so great for so long. And then now it's underneath it. Underneath, the market, this is another one you'll want to watch in the FANG. It gets underneath here. Oh, man. Where's the next level for it? How low do we go? Be very careful here on Facebook if it gets underneath 350. Yeah, be very, very careful there. Visa, a good support. Visa's been beaten quite a lot considerably recently. I think I'm kind of done with Visa, but I agree with you. Well, I must have agreed with you because I had this already here. Yeah, I do decently like this support. And I believe it was something around these previous peaks. Yes, I can't buy it. I can't buy Visa or MasterCard anymore. I feel like they're going to get smoked. INTC. Yep. That's always good. Snow spot, says Barack. Let's have a look at Snow. We've been a big fan of Snow recently, but I'm out of that stock. 320 was the 320, and this one got me for a little bit as well. I descaled. Just a long leg doji, mostly indecision. I prefer to pick Snow up at like a 290. Yeah. It's a 312 right now in the middle. Spot at support, but not great. It bounced much more aggressively last time, and then it's just kind of closed there this time. I would want to see further market action on this one. Further market action. Crisp at support, SW, yes. PayPal. Let's have a look at PayPal. They'll be underneath at the moment. That's kind of nasty. Yeah, once we busted that support, that was kind of gnarly. I'm still bullish on the company into earnings, but yes, it's at support. You're right. Gap to fill. Relatively weak in price action, I must say. The time this should have run was over here. When it did this literally legitimate flag, it should have ramped hard. And it just didn't ramp enough. It's at support, but not a huge fan of level. LKNYC. What is this even a thing? Like some joke or NCY? Oh, the Luckin. Okay, I didn't even know that was the code. I'm not looking at that, bro. PayPal dead? No, not PayPal dead. PayPal just down a little. Too much competition? There's a lot of competition in all the banks. Nvidia, this was the stock we do want to look at. Let's take a look at Nvidia together. 15 minutes till the market opens. I really like this support. It makes the most sense to me. It was one of the ones we detailed yesterday here. Resistance becomes support. Strong company. Can really do what it feels like. It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Let's go through some more. DKNG. If you're looking at this stock, I'd probably be looking 55 is okay. And then underneath that, probably like a 54 again. 54 would be pretty good. Almost looks like a bit of a head and shoulders here. Pushing into 54. I like that at 54 more than anything else. Currently priced 57.50. Airbnb. Let's have a look. Tough to buy there. See what I mean? The indices are cleaner than these stocks at the moment. Intel down. I would like this to rally, but I am waiting mostly to late October, November for the seasonality. Intel has amazing November seasonality if you're interested in checking it out. I liked what we saw the other day, though, so hopefully it comes back. Netflix, right at the point. That was not too bad yesterday to pick up. NVAX, sitting on support as well. 229 today. PLTR, for people that like PLTR, that was super disappointing. Resistance, you close above, and you can't even buy this level back. Look, hits the 20 again. It's got to hold above here. Otherwise, we just go back into a horrible holding pattern. It's got to hold. Nathaniel Freed says, I'm looking for a bounce in CGC. Historic oversold conditions on the daily. Only a hair above the RSI as the COVID crash. Historic oversold bounce levels on 4 hour. Okay. Dash broke. Ascending triangle. Let's have a look. I use Dash, guys. Dash is the best of these home delivery services. Is the best in America? Let me know, chat. Is Dash better than Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever you've got in America? Is this the best? I can say, for me in Australia, it's the best. I don't use Uber Eats. I don't use Menulog, which is trash, by the way. Don't use Menulog. Menulog gave me bad experience. Took 1.5 hours to deliver my food. Dash, 20 minutes. Dash is good. We've liked Dash here for a while. Though buying Dash here at this price makes me sad in comparison to some of the other stocks. I probably could think of better value stocks than here. But yes, it's still a very strong chart. Ben Little says, I use DoorDash only, not the others. Look, yes, Uber Eats is trash. There you go. I use Uber because Uber is cheaper. Interesting. You guys seem to like Menulog. Come on, Cody. Do you really use Menulog? Do you just listen to like the song that Snoop Dogg does? You're like MENU, and then you're like, did somebody say Menulog? That's the worst ad, bro. Snoop Dogg, he gets paid so much money for this stuff. Let's have a look at Disney. All right, let's take a look at Disney. Disney 179. I'm kind of disinterested in Disney. I feel like they made the announcement of selling their souls out with every single Marvel and Star Wars and everything they could make their hands on. And now they're going into a bit of a tough time for a little while. And I don't think they're going to have explosive Disney Plus numbers like they did. It was like kind of like a perfect storm for Disney. And they're a great company, but they're also huge. I really don't want to trade them until it comes back above this zone. That's just my opinion. I feel like we're stuck in a range. It makes for some good option strategies. Let's just say that. I like it for option strategies. And this is what people discount some of these stocks for. Boomer stocks are the best optionable stocks. And you might say, but Tom, I buy AMC and it moves up 10% and I make $1 bazillion on my 3-day call. Yeah, sure, if you want to gamble that way. But if you want to do it methodical, these types of stocks are the way to go. Lost Gamer says too big to move. Yeah. Let's take a look at AMC. AMC up 1.39%, coming off support, up down 8.85 yesterday. Resistance, support. We've detailed this level a couple of times. It's kind of already hit the previous peak resistance as well. I'd like to see it rally off here. Next resistance will be 43.77. We're not going to change any of these areas. 48.11, 52.35, and then above that, we're looking for the big 60 zone. If it gets underneath this area, it's 36, I guess. Then underneath there, 32, and then underneath there, it's gone. Underneath that, bad times. We don't want it there. Saying Freudian says Disney is going to saturate Star Wars and Marvel market and take a tumble. I've kind of thought for a few years that Marvel's becoming westerns of the 70s or 60s or whatever westerns were big. You know what I mean? Like, who goes and sees? You can always ask the chat. The chat knows best. We've got 1,300-ish people here. Who's getting sick of Marvel films? I have never seen, I'll tell you this, anything about the ants and the wasps. And I like comic books, but I'm not a fan of the wasps and the ants. Like, I will not watch that film. The little weird thing that maybe it's good. I didn't watch Black Widow. I'll watch the Eternals because at least it's something different. I haven't watched that other one that came out recently, but I'll probably check it out. But the wasp thing, they lost me on that one. The wasp thing is no good. Ooh, Zillow. You know, it's been very resilient, this Zillow. I like this base. You know, I like the Zillow above 100. Let's have a look at Palantir. I haven't looked at Palantir in a while. The LTR. No, not Palantir. What am I talking about? Damn, I've forgotten the company. Peloton. The Peloton, yeah? God, this thing gets a lot of hype, but it always seems to come back down to the magical just under around $100. If you like Peloton, it's getting close to that support. Terry Chow says, Chu says, Black Widow slept through it. Yeah. Etsy. I do like Etsy. Has Etsy done well? Let's have a look. Etsy's still floating around. Still above the 209. I like this level. ZG for a nation of renters. ZG. It's the Zillow, yeah? Damn, that is a steep downtrend. So beautiful once it breaks up. Black Widow is decent. Okay. The new Matrix. That will be pretty bad. Here we go. Lost Gamer says, my mum was in Disney Corp. They buy it and squeeze every drop of profit out of it, and then you will hate it. Yeah, that's unfortunately true. It's still in their heyday, though, with their Marvel things. Lemonade is on support, however, to get full recovery. This is one of those situations where if you want to buy here, you're kind of picking it up more as an investment than anything else because it's not turned around yet. And then after this zone here, 80, that's when you're putting that double bottom in play and you're really starting to dance and you're looking for that bigger movement up. SE, I'll have a look at SE. How much did that drop? Still too strong for my liking. I know it's great, it's strong, but I want it down at $300. And I really mean that. Like, they did a capital raise, they burned cash out of control. Great company. I hodl this thing, and I've got big plans for it to be worth even more. I think they scale very well, but they're incredibly risky. So yeah, you want good prices on them. Zoom video. Let's have a look at Zoom. Shalob says ADSK. We'll check that out in a second. Barack says, I bought all of the Ultimate Options Master. Yeah, I know you have. The Ultimate Options, Ultimate Masterclass, Trading Masterclass, and the private mentoring from FXE. Definitely suggest all. They are great. Appreciate that, Barack. Say something right now, by the way, Barack. I need to make sure I mod you up because I said I would give it to you yesterday. Thank you very much, sir. Zoom still holding the floor at this stage. I want to see some recovery, similar to pins. We need to see the turnaround story. We thought we almost had it earlier in the last week. We didn't quite get it. That's why waiting for confirmation is key. Where's Twitter? Nowhere land for Twitter at the moment. Where is the other one? Just kind of looking through all these stocks here today, guys. Just trying to find something that's half decent. The stocks are so much more convoluted than the market. Only Nvidia seems to be half decent. AMD Oh, man. It's in the middle of nowhere land as well. When I get this many stocks in the middle of nowhere land, I know that the market is going to the market's clearly going to make some big moves to get all these stocks back into better conditions. Do you agree? Do you find a few of these stocks weird? I mean, on the 5 minute, 15 minute, okay, they'll be different. But on these swing charts, these daily charts, they just don't look as clean. Market is currently down to 0.5%. It was up a lot more. Nasdaq's probably the easiest to spot here. There's the resistance at sold off early. All right, let's do this ADSK, Autodesk. Wouldn't really call it massive, amazing TA. Just fallen off a cliff after earnings, consolidating in this zone. It is a 50 exponential moving average, which we've looked at. I need a little bit more from it. It's on support, sure, but yeah, it got belted after that earnings. PK7 says, let's go down. I want cheap stocks. Yeah. Supposedly ZOMs at support. XOM, old Exxon. Oh, yeah, it is at support. You are correct. Mark Newton says, boomer stock, Kirkland Lake Gold. Kirkland Lake Gold. That's holding really crazily well, considering it's a gold stock. That is holding very amazingly well. You're looking massive time frame here. It's certainly got some upside on it, doesn't it? You get past 44, you're talking 50, 51, maybe even 56. Yeah, I could see what you're talking about with your flag as well on your weekly. It's pretty wide though, but thank you very much. KL is very good, says Kevin. Yeah, it's surprisingly strong. Surprisingly strong. Opening bell in 1 minute. Thank you very much for the alert, Ace of Spades. So we've got a bunch of stocks all over the places. As we saw, we don't have anything at super supports here today, except for maybe like Nvidia and a few other, marginal kind of stocks. Amazon also something to watch. Got Ulrich Nielsen says, looking at multiple stock charts, I don't see anything that intrigues me. I did see before, Ulrich, you sent me Rolls-Royce, which does look fairly good. I feel any rally is a sucker rally, and we'll see a proper correction in October. Well, thank you for your opinion, sir. We do appreciate it. Let's have a look now at the market. So we've got the US 500. We'll load up with Tesla coming into the open here. Tesla 735, 726 around the support, 700 put wall, which is good news if you're a Tesla holder. So many puts at 700, it's nuts. And the key levels to be watching for today, I'll load them up so you guys can see them. So we've basically got, let's go to the daily here so you can see it a bit clearer. There's the Nasdaq. Effectively, what you're looking at, we don't need this one, is this resistance here because we're just dinged in. So we've got that 50 exponential moving average, previous resistances sitting around that 15,160 zone for the Nasdaq. That'll be an interesting area. And if we do end up falling back down, watch the SPY, guys. We'll load the SPY up now that we've dinged in. So we opened exactly where we expected. Perfect. 436.53. So you would think that we're going to try to fill that gap down. You would think that that's what they'll try to do. They want to fill that down. And this will be where I feel like if they do sell early here, they'll try to rally off that point. Filling that gap makes more sense than filling this gap right now. Do you agree? What do you think, chat? Filling that gap makes more sense. Now, fill down here. That's where we want to go. 434-ish. Apple opens marginally up 0.43%. Tesla up 0.4. What is that? 0.4. Nothing really. Edit Beam up 2%. 97. Nothing too much to note about that. DKG, Airbnb up 1. Why is Sundial here? Get out of here, Sundial. AMC up 1.76%. Not bad. Holding that 40 zone. What do you guys think? Gap fill? I 'll 726, 720 to be watched on the Tesla. Apple down, not up. Apple is up 0.42%. See? It's just not up off your futures. It's still up. It's moving down. Very flat. Yeah, it makes sense to try to fill some of these gaps. Gaps fill, says Big Dipper. They do indeed. I think you had a question for me, Big Dipper, which I hadn't got round to yet. I'll read it on chat. That's all right. So it says, I'm trying to understand gaps ups versus gap downs. It's a good question. For instance, yesterday, the SPI gap down to 441, then to 436, bearish sentiment, higher resistance. But in today's pre-market, there is a gap up to 437 area, bull sentiment. How should we be looking at various kinds of gaps? I think that generally you will see most, like there is a stat out there on how many gaps fill. In normal times, markets tend to try to fill the gaps, okay? But you don't want to just trade, oh, I think the gap's going to fill. It's not enough to be looking at that. You've got to think about it, okay? Yesterday we opened here. We didn't see any rally. Now, if you see, here's a good point. If you have like a small little lightning bolt here, let's say, for instance, and we start to see that rally off the support because we know this 436 is a support now becoming resistance, then there's more likelihood that once you get into that for a day trade, it's going to look to gap fill. So that's how I really look at gaps. If you see a gap happen where it gaps into a key support or a key resistance, then you see a little turnaround on the smaller time frame. What you're going to do is you're going to rally that trade in to fill the gap. Absolutely, you will. It's a good strategy to be built into your already existing pre-support resistance. Don't be like, oh, every gap fills, if that makes sense. Use your technical analysis studies, use your fundamental analysis, use your seasonality, use your big data. Whereas today we open here at resistance and we're probably starting to see a little bit of turnaround on the small time frames. It's only whatever time frame this is, the 1 hour. Then there's more chance that if you get that little turnaround, that we're going to fill that gap and you can trade for an effective little price hike, little price scalp. What about a gap in memory, Tom, says Kevin? I haven't done enough study on that really to know whether I would take it or not. Shizzy Wiznut says, I have a buy on BTC at 38K. I think it's sick right now, and I suspect that there's a lot in China that will be seen dumped due to the handling of the Evergrande situation. That'd be interesting kind of thought process there. I'd be surprised if that ends up dumping it, but yeah, fair enough. Big Dipper says, thank you, no worries. Musti, we use Stripe on our website. If you need a different payment method, I can probably organize it for you. But yeah, it's Stripe. Stripe. That's why it says credit card. It actually passes through Stripe. So if you ever have a question and you can't pay for it, we can try to sort it out for you. Absolutely. Okta up 1%. Next stop 290. Let's take a look at Okta. I haven't looked at Okta in ages. Up 1.27. Yeah, I mean 290 is a zone for sure. Kind of marginal in here, I feel. Yeah, I mean you break past this 260. I could see you putting on the 290. You'll need the rest of the market to come with you though. You will need the rest of the market coming into you. Why did Uber jump? I don't know why Uber jumps. I did see the TA. Someone in the chat will let us know though. Why did Uber end up jumping, guys? It's hitting resistance early here. So it's rallying right now. But previous support, I feel like this is a good zone for them for some people to try to take profits. Profits for Uber? Oh, the drone thing. Oh, that's right. The drone thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think this company, I feel like Uber will be one of those story companies that you'll hear about. How much does it lose per quarter? I haven't looked at the financials in so long. I feel like it's the beginning of everything, but how often do we find the beginning of everything is not the end product? It's kind of like you think of vacuum cleaner now. Do you think of Hoover vacuums, or do you think of, some of the ones in the past, or now are you just like vacuum cleaner? Oh, Dyson, Miele, Dyson. Uber got kicked out of SEA by Grab. Yes. Profitable now, allegedly. Hmm. I don't really think it's going to be that profitable. If anything, Tesla's got them. Tesla, Google, somebody else, they either Uber will either win because it gets some kind of AI driving technology, and if they're behind on that, bleh, like down here. Unfortunately, that's how I look at it. The drone move, or whatever this is purely a move of desperation because they know that they don't have the tech for the future. And whether we agree with it or not, self-driving cars are most likely going to become a thing. They're actually probably safer than a lot of psychos on the road, that are, that are sometimes a little bit drunk or sometimes a little bit something else. So I would think that the future is most likely in that rather than Uber. Let's take a look now at the 5-minute again, see what's happening here. It's coming back up to rally this point. We are at an important crossroads between these two lines. So we got that initial sell-off, a little bit of a rally. We keep rallying, we pull back, we look to move to the gap fill. We come back down, we get a little turnaround. It could be a good scalp into the gap fill down here. So I guess we'll leave it at this, guys. It is very mixed here in the morning. It may look very bullish. Generally speaking, the market has done different to what the chat has said. The chat all said bull trap today. Let's find out if that's the truth. This will be the turn zone. I feel if the bears are going to take control, they want to take control relatively quickly here in the next kind of half an hour to hour. And they won't want to let it too much above this zone, because at this zone, what a lot of traders will do is they'll start looking for the pile in long getting into this gap fill. So they'll want to basically start to short it relatively soon. Tom, Beyond Meat. Every time I look at Beyond Meat, it makes me think the stock's beyond it. Let's have a look. It doesn't convince me much, I must say, this stock. If you like it as an investment, sure, but this is not a trader's stock. After it fails this beautiful bullishness, I would not trust it again for quite some time with TA. Great rally, bull flags, breaks, gets a new high, dumps. That's an abomination of TA. So therefore, I would not TA very much. If you like it, you like it. But I always say one thing about Beyond Meat. This word, in my opinion, sucks with Beyond Meat. And if you're looking at investing for the long term, follow the man, follow the Buffett, follow the approach. He might not know what technology is, because Buffett's, sipping the Cokes and eating at Wendy's or whatever he does. But is it Wendy's? I think it's Wendy's. I can't remember. Dairy Queen. But overall, the story is for your future investments, all you do is you just continuously circle this word until you go insane, which is moat. And that is the type of business that you want to own for 10 years. That's the type of business that you want to own for a long time. Beyond Meat was cool over here. Another IPO story. It was still probably cool here. And then everyone's cottoned on since then that this is mostly a marketing game. DKNG ranking number 7 on stock twits. Interesting. How much is it up? Not even up. Kevin N says, I already see a bunch of alternatives to Beyond Meat. Are they everywhere? They are everywhere. Everywhere. Terry Chow says, Tom, can you have a look at MKFG? Sure, sir. Market Forge Holdings. That looks relatively sick. $1.44 billion. Let's go to the 4-hour. You're looking at it because you like the drop dip, I guess. Not much volume in it at the moment. Overall, this looks pretty sick. I wouldn't see a strong rally. If you're looking for rally points, $8 closure above. Craig Francis wanted ASAN. Sana. Why does this sound familiar? Asana isn't one of those. What is Asana? What is this company, guys? Why does it remind me of a company where they have you in a room and then they tell you about stuff and they're like, guys, you got to join. You got to join. We've got some berries or something like that. These berries are amazing. They've got antioxidants. They're in. We got them from the high altitudes in the markets in Antarctica or something like that. You know what I mean? Those types of things, like a not so much. I can't say the word pyramid, but it does remind me. Asana's project management. Okay, so it's not the timeshare company or whatever it is. Fake Microsoft Teams. There we go. Asana is the owner of by ex-co-owner of Facebook. Ah. Wow, looks sweet on a chart. It's ballistic. It seriously reminds me of that thing though. It's probably the guys in Australia that produced this as well. Project management tools. There you go. It's not the berries, guys. Okay. It's not the krill oil from the Norwegian oceans, the Norwegian fish. It isn't that. It's actually a software company. That is a ballistic chart that's been going incredibly strong. Obviously, their growth is incredible. And I must say, congratulations if you picked them up in June. Wowzers. What a gain. Great story here. So you're talking $35. So these would have been a few $1 billion. That's a great spot, man. Obviously scaling out of control. Whatever happened on this earnings was the catalyst that propelled them to God. And then this earnings again just continues. So that means the business is ramping at a massive scale here. It's where fundamentals really come into play. Whatever happened at this particular earnings event created a massive ramp, and they've continued that ramp through the next earnings. And obviously they miss one. Oh my God, it'll be bad. But yeah, fantastic. Looks more like a crypto. Yeah, it certainly does. Actually, Asana is an old company, late IPO. Yeah, it's fine. They can IPO late. Still very cheap though in the weird market of the world. I mean, you've got some very questionable companies worth a lot more than $20 billion. You're thinking of Usana. Is that the berry company? I love those things. I used to go to them just for fun, just to like watch what they did. They were hilarious, those things. Anyway, we are up in the markets here, guys. We've got the Nasdaq at that resistance. We've got the US 500 at that resistance. Basically speaking, we are at the resistance where the bulls and the bears fight it out. If you're a bull, you're hoping for it to get past this, move towards this 15,350 kind of 60 zone. This is where your next kind of areas will probably be problematic. You can see the 200, 4-hour, 50 will all be there. It's definitely a worry zone. If you're a bear, you're hoping it sells right here. If it gets underneath that low that's been made for the day, then you think it's going all the way back downtown. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Remember, subscribe if you enjoy the videos. And we hope that you have Great trading sessions. I will quickly load up Nvidia. Oh, wait a second. I want to look at Roku quickly here. Yeah, so as I thought, Roku, wowzers, that's too nice. We missed this one today. It's one of the only ones I didn't look over. Two nice rejections. Let's go to the daily. Oh, geez, that's really close. Roku right on that base here, looking for a closure above. Tell you what, we'll be coming back to you tomorrow, Mr. Roku. Let's have a look at Nvidia. Or didn't quite get above this zone, looking for that gap to fill up. Gordon Poljak SEC $109. Wowzers. Thank you very much. I guess it says, hey, Tom, what is a good entry for EGLD educational content? All right, we'll do this for you, sir. EGLD crypto. Want to go long again, but for $8 last year, but scaled, put 80%. Excellent fundamentals and killer contracts with Samsung and Audi. It's F 2.0 today. Okay. EGLD. I don't even know what it is, man. But that's all right. Why do I need to know? I don't. F 2.0. And you got it at $8? Nice. How big is it actually? Oh, this is that Alron thing. 4 bill, fully diluted 6.8. 33. I have seen this. I just don't know the code for it. EGLD. All right, back to EGLD here for a second. That is a very nice bullish recovery here. Want to go long again. Yeah, I think it's got decent muscle memory in it. I think this would have been an okay zone for you to pick it back up. You're looking at it right now, basically going, okay, what can we do? I mean, go to 8-hour chart, kind of just hitting that resistance. I would say something like this, sir. Pull back a little bit, movement up, gets back through that zone, and you start scaling further in. Obviously, educational content only. But if you're wanting to look at it, you'd be looking at pull up, pull back down, lightning bolt through, which is basically a trough, a peak, a higher trough, and then a higher peak. And then we get that follow through action. SPY buy time, it's ripping. Yeah, just needs to get above the 44 and then close and then pull back slightly, and then you can rip it to the point. Yeah, so EGLD, look for that little bit of a pullback here. Ideally, it kind of goes like that. And when it does that, you can be more sure that it's pretty decent. If you're looking for further pullback zones, probably looking about 129, 130. Good luck, sir. Thank you very much for your very generous donation. Full in Japan says EGLD is Alrond. That's a terrible name, by the way. Why would you call it Alrond? It sounds like Enron, and no one wants Enron. Okay? Bad name. Tell them to change the name. Who would make Alrond as a name? Jesus, it's bad, guys. Enron. That's what it sounds. It's real bad. All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.